So here in this video, we're just looking at an introduction to physics. Okay, so the first topic that we can look at in physics is physical quantities. Okay, this is the introductory part of physics. Okay, physical quantities. Okay, so in physics we deal with measurements. Okay, different types of measurements. Okay, and these measurements we call them physical quantities. Okay, so there are two aspects under physical quantities that are important for you to know. Okay, so aspect number one is that we are dealing with measurements. Okay, we're dealing with what? Measurements. Now we don't deal with measurements alone. Okay, whenever you measure something, okay, you have to measure that same thing with a certain unit. Okay, you can never do measurements without units. Okay, so the two most important aspects under what? Physical quantities. Okay, so if we were to define what a physical quantity is, okay, for the sake of your information, okay, physical quantity is any measurable feature, any measurable feature, okay, feature on an object. It's the simple definition of what? A physical quantity. Okay, any measurable feature on an object. Okay, that's what we call a physical quantity. Okay, a physical quantity. Okay, so provided you have a stool, okay, let's say this is a stool. Okay, you have this stool. Okay, so this is a stool. Okay, so if we have a stool like this is an object. Okay, this is an object. Okay, you have a stool like that, that's an object. So in this object, okay, we need to look at, is there any feature that can be measured? Okay, these are what we call physical quantities. So first thing, you're going to measure its height. Okay, its height. Okay, you're going to measure its height. Okay, the other thing you can measure is the width. Okay, how wide it is. Okay, this too, the width. Another thing you can measure here, it's okay, let's see how heavy is this. Okay, you can put it on a beam balance. Okay, and then you can measure its its mass. Okay, its mass. So all these things, okay, that we are measuring here are what we call physical quantities. So for instance, when we measure the height, okay, we are simply measuring what? Length. Okay, we're measuring length. Okay, when we measure the how much this thing is heavy, or the weight, what you normally call the mass. Okay, usually it's in kilograms. Okay, so any measurable feature on an object. So these are some of the things we can measure, okay, on this object. Okay, so that's an introduction to physical quantities. Okay, so any measurable feature on an object. Wonderful. Okay, so now I said there are two aspects. Okay, measurement aspect and what? Units of what? Of measure. Okay, measurement aspect and units of measure. Okay, so the length, it has the unit we call meter. Okay, same thing, the width is also under what? Length. Okay, they'll be measured or in what? In meters. Okay, so you can think of any object. Okay, any object you can think of, if it has any measurable feature on it, okay, we call that a physical quantity. Okay, we call that a physical quantity. Okay, so now if we were to look at our diagram on the next on the left page there, okay, so what you can see there is two types of what? Of physical quantities. Okay, so we have two types of physical quantities, two types. Okay, two types of physical quantities. Okay, there are two types Okay, as we can see there on the left side, okay, you have what we call a base quantity. Okay, you have what we call a base quantity. Okay, and these base quantities, okay, examples there we have got mass, length, time, current, temperature. Okay, we have mass, length, time, current, and temperature. Okay, so when we look at the mass, okay, it's a physical quantity. Okay, it's a physical quantity. Okay, so now what we know about physical quantities is that they all have only one SI unit. Okay, so only have one SI unit. So when you say an SI unit, we are simply talking about this word is called, it means international or standardized unit. Okay, international standardized what unit. So the base quantities, okay, the base quantities, okay, the base quantities only have what? One SI unit. For example, mass, we know the SI unit for mass are kilogram. Okay, for mass the SI unit are kilogram, only one. Okay, for length, okay, for length we know it is meters. Okay, and so on and forth. Okay, so now if we look at the next look at the table there, it's showing that length has one SI unit, which is a meter. The symbol is M. Okay, and the example 100 meter. Mass, only one SI unit, kilogram. The symbol is kg. Time, only one SI unit. The SI unit is second. The symbol is S. Current, the SI unit is ampere. The symbol is A. Temperature, the SI unit is Kelvin, and the symbol is what? Is K. Okay, so these are what we call the base, okay, quantities. They only have what? One SI unit. Okay, so again, back to our table. So derived quantities, these are number 2 on the line. Okay, so we have base quantities and what? Derived quantities. So these are a combination. Okay, their SI unit, okay, are a combination, okay, of base quantities. Okay, they're a combination of base quantities. So for instance, there you have speed. Okay, you have what? Speed. Okay, now if you have speed, okay, speed as the first example. Okay, so we learned that speed has the formula distance over time. Okay, distance, this is length. Length is a what? A base quantity. Okay, time, okay, we know time is also a base quantity. Okay, this, the SI unit is meter, the SI unit for time is second. So find that speed is measured in what? Meters over second. Okay, and this we call them derived quantities. They're a combination of 2 or more base quantities. Okay, they're a combination of 2 or more base quantities. So for example, if you look at volume, okay, volume, okay, so find that volume is a base quantity derived from what? From length. Okay, how do you get volume? When you multiply length 3 times. Okay, meter times meter times meter, we end up getting what we call cubic meter. Okay, area is the same thing. It's a derived quantity from what? From length also. Okay, here we are measuring length, multiplying length 2 times, we get meter squared. Okay, meter squared. Okay, area, okay, and force, okay, all those are simply what? Derived quantities, a combination of 2 or more quantities. Okay, a combination of 2 or more what? Quantities.